I want to start with a thought experiment. It's 8 AM on transfer deadline day. You wake up, bleary-eyed to stop your alarm, and a notification leaps out at you. Ornstein has spoken. Arsenal are in talks to sign a 21-year-old homegrown English-American striker from Reims in France. That's right, Reims. It's the player's breakout season in football, and now he's outscored the likes of Kylian Mbappe, Lionel Messi, and Neymar, and Lacazette to become Ligue 1's top scorer in a mid-table French team. How much would you be expecting to pay for that player? For you, Todd Burley, 500 million. Arsenal's loan system has undergone a remarkable transformation in the last few years. Since the appointment of Ben Napper as Arsenal's first ever loan manager in 2019, though plenty of loans passed without much fanfare, Arsenal have massively benefited from the likes of Eddie Nketiah and William Saliba spending time out on loan, and have reaped financial rewards from well-placed loans for the likes of Joe Willock. Lots of detailed work is now placed on finding the right move culturally and stylistically for the player, in order to maximise the impact of the loan. Relationships are now forming with key EFL and foreign clubs, who are expected to do Dragon's Den style pitches to sign Arsenal's talent. Napper and his team are in touch constantly to monitor progress and remove any barriers to success. Someone like Nuno Tavares, for example, may never play for the first team again, but the loan system has absolutely enhanced his reputation, with some excellent performances in a Marseille team that suits his skill set. Arsenal will be hoping this attention to detail will benefit the likes of Sambi Lokonga and Marquinhos, but the revamped loan system has already paid dividends for Folarin Balogun, who, having come through Arsenal's academy, has long been touted as a potential first-team quality centre-forward. In April 2021, amid some speculation about a move away, he put pen to paper on a new 4-year deal to stay at Arsenal, and made his Premier League debut later that year before a loan to Middlesbrough. But now at Reims, Balogun is really making waves. The name that jumps out at me for some reason as a comparison to Balogun is Luis Suarez. Suarez was scoring for fun in the Eredivisie at Balogun's age, with 22 goals for Ajax in 31 league games in 07-08. He went on to score 49 goals in 48 appearances in the 09-10 season before his move to Liverpool. Despite that, around the time, Suarez never quite got the attention that his talent warranted until he moved to England. It was a different media space back then, of course, and clubs and fans have far more footage of players, but he wasn't even longlisted for FIFA Pro's World 11 in 2010, despite that incredible scoring record and his man-of-the-match performances at the World Cup. Suarez's controversial behaviour can't have helped, but I do think there is another key reason why his performances weren't getting the plaudits they might have deserved. With some talents, their qualities jump off the screen or the pitch from the first watch. When you watch someone like Erling Haaland or Michaela Mudryk, you are immediately struck by the physical qualities they have. With others, it's their technical level, the likes of Bernardo Silva or Santi Cazorla. For me, both Suarez and Balogun suffer from the same issue. They're not the quickest, they're not the tallest. In essence, they're not the most aesthetically pleasing. And as a result, it's sometimes difficult to really see a player and see what they are until they've established themselves further down the line, as Suarez had to do, waiting until 24 years of age until his big move. I've never quite known what Balogun is, but the numbers aren't lying. And like Suarez, Balogun has a canny knack for being in the right place at the right time and scoring goals. Balogun is a complete centre-forward. He has all of the fundamentals you need to move forward in the game and lots of growth potential. Strength, both feet, swagger, intensity, speed, headed goals, penalties, technique, power, and more. My concern is only really about his defensive contribution, which we'll come to. He slightly favours the left, often making those nice out-to-in runs and arriving with great timing for the final action. He can build up well, shielding the ball and using his body and strength to hold off opposing players, then play a pass or roll his defender in an Nketiah-esque way. His quick feet means he often draws fouls and penalties, and his technique means he can control all types of passes, meaning he can be an outlet for Arsenal's progressive players to feet, over the top, through the lines, and more. Balogun has everything an Arsenal centre-forward needs. To watch me break down Balogun's game in more detail with practical examples, as well as getting loads of other benefits, check out the bonus content on Patreon in the link below. The data, courtesy of Canon Stats, shows a player who is well-rounded, with key strengths in a number of areas, as well as a few places to improve. But to me, there's a swagger to Balogun that's almost undefinable. When you watch closely on and off the pitch, Balogun exudes a confidence that the best strikers have. When you watch him waiting for the ball in the build-up, there is a thinker there, opens opportunities, always on, and he's becoming that guy for Reims. In fact, Balogun's 14 goals are 56% of Reims' entire output this season. His two-footedness is seriously impressive. Defensively, there are concerns. especially in his numbers. He's in the bottom 10% or lower in Europe when compared to other forwards per 90 for tackles and interceptions, aerials, tackles won, dribblers tackled, and more. His confidence can sometimes bleed into a lack of intensity off the ball, something I expect Arteta will demand to shift. Balogun spoke about wanting to take on more of a leadership role in his teams when he signed his new contract, and this will be part of his development. Manager Will Still, who has a fascinating story by the way, said this about Balogun. He is brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant, and I'm not just talking about the player, I'm talking about the human being behind it as well. He has totally adapted into the environment he's come into. He also says his French is terrible, but with any luck, he won't need it for much longer. So, in our thought experiment, how much would David Ornstein be saying that Balogun cost? Player perception matters. There's a whole other video on this I could do to explain it in full, how it impacts value, narrative, and even performance, but I've long been of the opinion, for example, that if William Saliba had the exact same level of defensive capabilities, but wasn't handsome, tall, signed for the fee he was, and French, he might be perceived to be worth less. I think Gabriel has actually been better for us this season. And perception-wise, Balogun hasn't exactly exploded onto the scene. He's not Mika Richards. He'll be 22 in the summer, he's not played internationally yet at senior level, he had to go to the championship, and didn't do too well. So Balogun may have to work a bit harder to prove his worth than others. But in a market where Antony goes for this, Grealish goes for this, and Mudryk goes for that, considering Balogun has more league goals this season than all three of them combined, if we opt to sell, we may have a serious fee on our hands. For me, I'd like to see him sign a new deal and be given a chance to succeed at Arsenal. But it's a win-win either way. Credits to the club, and credit to Flo for his hard work. Thank you so much for watching The Different Knock. If you like this video, please hit like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Please consider supporting us on Patreon monthly or head to buymeacoffee.com for one-time support. You can find me at AMOnFootball on Twitter, and we're at DiffKnock on all social media. Also, check out our podcast. All the links are in the video description. Thanks!